she don't care what you think. Granniopteryx, granniopteryx, she knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello, I said I'm not a drinker in an earlier video, but sometimes I see things that would be enough to drive me to drink. So let's raise an imaginary glass to all those lovely people who invented checklists. And we have Jess Phillips's blessing on that, as quoted in this bloody headline here in the Telegraph. Domestic violence tool, she says, doesn't work. And then, in the very next line, following Telegraph investigation into Dash checklist, Jess Phillips says it suffers obvious problems, but will not be replaced overnight. The Dash part of that stands for domestic abuse, stalking and honour-based violence. And here's the webpage. And this is, oh, doesn't it look good? You know, Dash resources. And then it says here, when someone is experiencing domestic abuse, it's vital to make an accurate and fast assessment of the danger they're in so they can get the right help as quickly as possible. And the minister in charge of this webpage says it doesn't work. And that they won't get it to work overnight. They can get Facebook posters in jail overnight, can't they? It's amazing how fast this government can move when it wants to. But the Dash checklist, now that's beyond their capabilities. There's all that here. Let's have another look at it. There's all that tiresome web design to rethink, isn't there? And then there's a small problem of hauling the police off the social media patrol to get out to the houses where there are some real emergencies going on. It's much better to get a social worker to tick boxes on a checklist. Just look at all these resources. Dash risk checklist, Dash risk checklist for Northern Ireland, for Scotland. You know, I mean, it's different depending on which kingdom you're in, I suppose. Dash risk checklist for young people. Severity of abuse grid. So I suppose you're drawing like a temperature chart or something. Who cares if it actually works? It looks great, doesn't it? And I'm Granniopteryx. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe to my channel. If you want to help me financially, all the links whereby you might do that are in the description. But really, just click that like. It really is very helpful for the channel. All right, let's talk about Jess Phillips's parish here. All right, checklists, the ultimate weapon of people who want to look like they're working when all they're doing is shuffling papers, which reminds me of a Russian joke. Now, I'm going to make a sort of sweeping generalisation here. The British have a very good, dry sense of humour. I know that I've lived all over the world. I've seen different countries, different senses of humour. In my experience, say, the continental sense of humour isn't that funny. The Italian, the French, the German, it's not like they don't know how to laugh. Obviously they do, but they're into more slapstick. It's not subtle humour. And the only other countries I have found that have this subtle humour, that I've been able to identify anyway, are Spain and Russia. And it's amazing. The Spanish have a great sense of humour, and Russia too. And I was just going to tell you this Soviet-era Russian joke, which was sort of saying, really, it was, we'll pretend to work as long as they pretend to pay us. And that encapsulates it all. It's a brilliant little thing. Well, anyway, that's what these checklists is all about. People just shuffling paper and ticking boxes and pretending they're going to work and getting paid for it. You might remember another checklist which was in the news fairly recently. It was called Prevent. Remember that? I was talking about that only a few videos ago, and that was supposed to identify radicalisation, particularly among teenage school children. And then it went completely crazy. That too is a checklist. It went through all the points that indicated dangerous radicalism. And of course, some 5-year-old kids were caught in that checklist as well. Anyway, what it didn't catch was that Axel Rudakabana, who passed the whole test with flying colours. By the way, does anyone know what happened to the Rudakabana family? All I can find on the web is that they've been moved to a secret location. I mean, I don't blame them at being kept secret. In fact, I think that's a good thing. But let's face it, the family has fairly distinctive looks and they have a disabled son. They're hardly likely to just blend in some Scottish hamlet or a market town in Norfolk, are they? What I wonder is if they'd be moved out of the country altogether, perhaps Canada or maybe one of the African countries, not Rwanda, of course. But I am quite sure, I'm guessing that the government... our government will have reached an agreement for a price with an African country on how to look after people that won't be so distinctive there. I can think of 3 countries that they might have gone to. But anyway, that's just my side issue. It's a real sidetrack. Anyway, back to Prevent. Well, yes, the Them What Knows admit that Prevent has a few problems, but they say we can't change it anytime soon. Why? Well, because it's a checklist. And without at all wishing in any way to minimise the horror that evil sewer rat inflicted on the families of those 3 little girls, robbed from them because the Prevent checklist was inadequate, I have to bring to your attention that between 2023 and 2024, there have been not just 3, but 80 violent dispatching of women at the hands of what is referred to as an intimate partner. And Jess Phillips, our safeguarding minister, that very same safeguarding minister, I would remind you, who stood up in the debating chamber of the House of Commons and made excuses for the blocking of a national inquiry into gangs of depravity. Remember, people, I have to watch my language on YouTube. And now Jess Phillips, our safeguarding minister, is making excuses for the lack of action on the Dash checklist. Bereaved families have likened the scandal to Horizon, the post office IT system that destroyed lives while officials looked away, and considering taking legal action. McHugh Jury and Partners, a law firm, told the Telegraph it had been approached by relatives of women killed after suspected flawed Dash risk assessments who were looking to explore potential legal action. Bereaved families consider suing over flawed domestic violence tool. Relatives of some women who were denied support after being incorrectly categorised as only at low or medium risk are exploring taking legal action over the failings. Last week, the Telegraph revealed that since 2019, 55 women have been killed after being wrongly categorised as only being at low or medium risk. This figure relates to only 10 police forces, and a data scientist at a Berlin-based firm called Frontline, developing a rival tool, claimed that the true number of deaths linked to Dash across all regions since 2009 could top 400. McHugh, Jury and Partners, a law firm, told the Telegraph it had been approached by relatives of women killed after suspected flawed Dash risk assessments who were looking to explore potential legal action. And what are our MPs doing about this? Well, not very much. You know, it's sort of slipped past. How often have you heard about this? How often has it turned up in the newspapers? I don't recall ever seeing it actually until I got to this article here. Then I was doing a bit of research. It appears that most of our MPs are more concerned with party loyalty and towing the line than they are with actually serving their constituents' needs. And that includes you, Miss Phillips. So yes, if legal action is the only thing that's going to shock the government and the police into action, then I'd say go for it. OK, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.